Hello and welcome to another video from the Fantasy Legion. I've got Sean with me again.
It's great to be back, Al. Yeah, really good news. Very exciting stuff happening around the NFL, of course. A lot of injuries and a lot of camp news.
Well, yeah, I mean, the biggest news hot off the press is Leonard Fournette's been released by the Jaguars. And that's a bit of a shock. Apparently, they tried everything to trade him. They even off, 5th, 6th, 7th. No one was taken. What do you make of it? Give me your thoughts on it.
Well, you know how I've stood on Leonard Fournette now for a couple of seasons, and particularly this year. He's in our draft guide. That's the best thing I can tell you.
He is in our draft guide.
And he's in our bold prediction list, not because of for good reasons. It's for the exact reasons that he's just been released. So it's worth you checking out that draft guide. I won't spoil it too much, but what I can definitely say is...
why not tell everybody? You had Fournette on the bold prediction to bust. You've got Raquel Armstead in there as a sleeper. You said he might end up winning our fantasy league. Store him, don't get rid of him, keep him because he could come good. So, I mean, this is another success for the draft guide. So, if you haven't bought it already, the link will be in the description. But if you just want to expand on, what you said, really.
Yeah, but the reasons for it are, it's that classic thing about, obviously our job is, you hear a lot about, they say experts, but it's about analytics. I always say it's always about analytics, what we do. And I think what we do on this particular podcast so well together is we bring two different aspects. And it's worth expanding on it before going deeper on this. You bring that cutting, horrendous, I hate it, frankly, this horrible betting edge. That's absolutely correct. It's how to get
the value side.
Yeah, the value, get in, get at the right value, and then get out when required. And then I bring in the sort of,
you've got the sixth sense and like a nose for sniffing out these issues before they happen.
Yeah, it's a combination of seeing it before it happens and then working out what will happen longer range. And that's what I've figured out for the last two seasons with Leonard Fournette. There was a lot of issues there at the Jags. I suspected the ankle issues are actually more serious than people think. I know he had a very good year last year, and we didn't talk about him very much last year, but this year I could sense it the moment this season was beginning, way back early January, February, the way Jags were handling the situation, the way that Leonard Fournette was being treated. And this news is not a surprise for us at all. It's actually, I was quite surprised it's taken this long. But what makes it worse for Fournette, the timing for him is horrendous. I mean, it's about as bad. I think Jaguars have absolutely stitched him right up.
Well, I mean, they've tried. I mean, they've tried basically to trade him for peanuts, and they can't.
Well, that tells you...
They didn't want to give him away for nothing, but they've had to in the end just to save on the money.
It tells you an awful lot about the situation that how other teams view him as well. So there's a lot of talk at the moment. I've seen it on Twitter that just in the last hour about people saying where he will likely be traded to, and the reality, a lot of those are just ridiculous. For some examples, somebody said, a very famous person said, very likely Kansas, not a chance. Sorry. Seattle, no chance. Seattle and Kansas have got methods to the way they work. Leonard Fournette, I'm sorry, is not going to go in there. Now, if you said to me maybe, if something was very seriously wrong with, say, David Montgomery, so it was more serious, I could see that. I could see that. I could see that as a potential landing spot.
But they probably only take it on his contract for the year, wouldn't they? He's $4 million.
Absolutely.
They'd have to take on his $4 million for a day. If Montgomery's bad, like 4 to 6, 8 weeks, then why not have Fournette and have the two of them?
Correct.
With Tarek mixed in. I could see.
So it's more likely things like that where he could. But the truth is, his career has reached a very bad crossroads for him, and you couple it with the big ankle issues that he has got. He slimmed down, and this. I don't think the future holds very bright for him. And
also, about arguments with the Jags sort of, backroom staff, and that doesn't look good on him. I mean, we don't know the complete story. I mean, but it's not a good sign when these sort of things are becoming public, is it? These sort of fallouts.
No, it's not.
One other team I could see, because they've only got two fit running backs, but I don't know whether it'd be a good thing or not. I mean, the Jets have only got Bell, who they haven't really ever taken to, and he came out and said, "Why are we just standing around in practice doing nothing?" Again, very publicly coming out and saying, "We're just standing around for hours not doing anything." That doesn't. They've got Frank Gore as well.
I could see.
Michael Pirrine's been injured, so they've only got 2 fit, and one of them's like Frank Gore's like 85.
I could see that situation as well. That's a possibility for the Jets to go in there. There are a couple of other teams. There's a few teams which are kind of haven't probably got a lot to lose.
Philadelphia banded around and Miami. I mean, Miami's got
seeing,
Breeder and Howard.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Miami or Philadelphia for a lot of reasons. It's not the way that those teams tend to operate. I just don't think it's a fit. It just doesn't seem to work. It wouldn't be I'd be a bit surprised if he went to any of those teams. Would be a bit of a shock.
I mean, unless Sanders' injury is worse than it's not week to week, it's longer. Then I couldn't.
But there's no indication.
People are saying Washington as well. I suppose with Darius Geis out, that could be an option. But Peterson 35.
Again, that's possible. But they've got Adrian Peterson, and he does a serviceable job no matter what happens, no matter what goes on in Washington. I think they're pretty settled in what they're doing as well.
I could throw one into the mix. What about the Chargers? They got Eckler, but he's a smaller back. And they had Melvin Gordon and Eckler for a while, and that was pretty successful.
That's a very logical conclusion. And again,
they did sign, they did sign Kelly, but
if you think of the fit, if you think of the fit, that again, what you just suggest there, Al, makes sense. I could see that scenario playing out. It's possible. Yeah, absolutely.
People saying the Giants. I mean, surely what with Saquon and the Panthers with Saquon?
Not a chance. No chance. No, it's just
they've got
It's wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking of fantasy Fournette owners. The thing is, if you look at it logically, there are not going to be many people out there. Just being deadly honest. Now, so think about it yourself. You're watching this video, and you don't know much about us as fantasy analysts. Think about that. Who would be brave enough? And we don't make a lot of predictions. Who would be brave enough to say before the season starts, having seen the season previously for Fournette, bust? Who else would say they don't even have him on their draft list? You're looking at him.
Yeah.
So
you have said that. Yeah.
So this is the reality of where we are. We can only stand by our predictions and fall by them. We don't always get them right, but we'll be the first to tell you if we get them wrong. You're right, Alex. We have to also shout out sometimes when it's gone well. And this has been a good one. Another good one for the draft guide. And very good news for Raquel Armstead. Irrespective of what people think, got to remember that it's 3 weeks to go. 3 weeks. There's only a few days to go now, really. And people are going to, teams are going to be playing. So to bring a guy in now for the, Jags is pretty limited. They're probably going to roll a sort of a committee in. And, as I've always said, Raquel Armstead, he can do the job if called upon. And with him and Chris Thompson now, I think that's a pretty good duo. And if you've got some shares of Raquel Armstead in Best Ball, which I happen to have lots of shares in, I'm very happy to say.
You're back to what you said, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm very delighted to say I think that's a very super place to have Raquel Armstead, who would have looked like he had no value on those sleeper teams. Now looks like he has a lot of value on those teams.
We've got to mention the other players as well. Obviously, you've mentioned Armstead. You mentioned Chris Thompson. He's always been a pass-catching back, a good one. And a very good one, yeah. Valuable in PPR leagues as a late flyer.
Could be useful.
You've got the rookie James Robinson, who if you're in a dynasty league that has a squad a taxi squad, you can put him on, or you've just got space.
Worthless. Look, this moment in time,
you got Zigbo as well. He's been impressive in camp.
Yeah.
In Armstead's absence, because we should say Armstead has missed a bit of time. So there are a few options there, and they've actually come out and said that. They got rid of Fournette, not because of off-field issues or arguments in camp. This is the official word, but actually they preferred the guys behind him. So people saying like Devontae,
I love that answer. That's a beautiful.
They prefer the guys behind him. So that
we didn't get rid of you because of any off-field issues, but because of the guys behind you. He's had a ton of off-field issues. They didn't like him last year. He had a very good year, and yet you still got rid of him. I think that speaks volumes.
Basically, I mean, if you look at the way the Jags have been operating, people are saying, they're obviously going to sign Devontae Freeman. But why? No. They're getting rid of Fournette because they don't want to pay $4 million for a running back. Yeah. And, Freeman's gone at the game. I mean, I'm not saying they won't sign him, but I don't see it. They've been cutting costs all over the place. They traded Yannick Ngakoue, who was a big pay increase.
If you look at it logically, it's a team that hasn't got a lot of fantasy assets worth owning right now. They're going to be playing catch-up all year, and they look like they're in a bit of tank mode to me. and that never bodes well
are,
for the season ahead. The good pieces to own really are, look, if you're getting if it turns out to be, say, Chris Thompson ends up being the guy that gets the job, or most of the work, well done. If it's Raquel Elmstead, great. As long as you haven't paid a high premium for them, which you always preach.
Yeah, take a
brilliant.
You got
right.
There's no
brilliant.
point buying him in the 5th round.
If you've got DJ Chark in a few leagues, I think you're cashing in right now on this news. I think that's great news for DJ Chark because they're going to be throwing a lot more, I can tell you. So that sounds quite good to me.
You know who else it's good for, I think? I actually think it's good for Gardner Minshew because Gardner Minshew was 3rd in rushing yards, more than Russell Wilson, more than Dak Prescott, 3rd in rushing yards by any quarterback. And he didn't get one carry inside the 5. Fournette had 100% of them. He's gone.
Yep.
So every chance that, Minshew can run a few in.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. That's a very good bit of logic.
And, they might call on him to run more because, they haven't got...
I'm quite happy. I've got at least one share so far on Minshew, so that's quite nice in one league where it needs 2 quarterbacks. So I'm quite pleased about that today.
I mean, the other team I was thinking of, maybe, but they got rid of Freeman for the same reason. Atlanta. I mean, if you can't trust Gurley, or if you're worried about Gurley, they have kind of operated a two sort of running back set. They've always had like Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman for years.
Yeah.
But why it's almost replacing a like for a like, isn't it? $4 million. You're getting a big wage off only to get it back. But for a year, if you're worried about Gurley, then why not? So I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. Fabulous news for the draft guide. Very interesting, and it's there's a lot going on, and we haven't even got to the starting line yet, and it's all still kicking off as it always does. What makes the NFL so exciting every single year?
Yeah, and these things that sort of reverberate around the fantasy,
and they dagger knife, don't they? When you look at news like this, because that Leonard Fournette was arguably, depending on league size, 2nd round pick. Arguably, maybe,
3rd round.
Depending on league size. But that's a big blow to teams because you're really not thinking you're going to get that value right now. It will need a very good, as you say, land in the right spot, move for Fournette now in the next couple of weeks. And that's a big if. That's a big if right now. You would be worried if you're an owner.
The problem for Fournette owners is, right, that I was reading he's got $4 million and there's kind of a dispute on it. So, unless you want to take on that $4 million salary for this year, then you've got to wait till after week 1 to pick him up on a different price, on a different salary, if you like, because that's the way the grievance works. You've got to wait to see if somebody's prepared to pay the money, and if not, the grievance.
No, well, it looks like he'll go through waivers. I think it will go through the waivers.
Well, I think he might do at this point, and then maybe after week 1 he gets signed by a team. So the craziness might not be over yet. So
it's not over. No, there's something will happen because teams will be desperate for a running back, and obviously he has got a pedigree.
He will sign somewhere. He will sign somewhere. So he's going to muddy somebody else's backfield.
Well, that's it. It just depends which backfield he muddies up now. So watch this space. Don't laugh too hard in case he lands on your team where you don't want him to land.
No, if you're a Montgomery owner, so you cross your fingers.
I've got a few shares of him, and I'm not sure about him at the moment. That's another story in a minute, I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. So if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. Like I say, excellent stuff in the draft guide. Yet another reason to buy it. It's all in there.
Yep.
We'd already put him down as a bust, and it's already come true. So we're hitting the nail on the head there. Hitting a few out of the park already. So what better excuse you need to support the channel? So thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it if you stayed to the end, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.